All right, yeah, so as a Christmas gift, was given one of the Elgato capture cards, and I've spent probably the last week or so fooling with it to make sure that it works and see if I can get things set up, and for probably about 3 or 4 weeks leading up to Christmas, was trying to find a shiny Machop, because I'm kind of still messing around with Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I want to see if I can get a Trick Room team put together, and what fun is it to battle with high-end Pokemon teams if they're not shiny? So I'm just going to kind of dive right back into it for now, and I'm going to see if I can hatch one. It's been a little bit of a slow going, if I'm being honest. It's one of the things where, it can take... You can get lucky. I had one weekend, maybe a month and a half ago, where I hatched 4 shiny Pokemon over the course of about 2 days, which was cool. And then this one I have been at for about 5 weeks, off and on. I'm probably about 1,300 eggs deep, and nothing. And on top of that, I mean, I have the, I've got the Shiny Charm, I have a 4 in Ditto, like, I have the odds for this really cranked up to the max, and as of now, I don't have a whole lot of anything going for it, so, that's always fun. Give me... just a second. I'm going to switch that around, and I'm turning on some music for me to listen to, because this is going to take some time. I figure if I'm going to be at this for a while, I might as well listen to something interesting, right? If I hatch it on egg number 1, I'm going to lose my shit. Yep, that sounds about right. So, if I'm being honest, the original rule that I was going with wasn't explicitly for it to be shiny. Because it's for a Trick Room team, and I am being as picky as I am, I want it to have a very specific stat spread. So it either needs to have a no-good speed and 5 bests, so 5 perfect IVs, and it needs to have a speed reducing nature, attack boosting nature, so it needs to meet both of those criteria, or it needs to be shiny, at which point it'll be worth spending things like mints and bottle caps to perfect it from there. So I already released an entire full PC of these things before, and am now, somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 boxes into the next run. I mean, it's fine. I'm not mad about it, but, I would also thoroughly enjoy it if we could get something going on this one. Because this is going to be the 3rd Pokemon of 6 that I'm putting together for the team. And I would love to be able to kind of move on to number 4 sooner than later. Here, I'll actually show off what I do have so far. Hop into the PC really quick. So the team that I've been working on, I have a Mask. The idea being that he's probably going to be like the Trick Room setter. He's got Memento. Solosis, also shiny. The goal here, once again, I'm just looking for Pokemon with abysmal speed stats and otherwise impressive stats, and Solosis is one of those things where at level 100 it's only going to have like a 60 speed, which is low if you're not familiar with it, but the special attack can be north of 350 if I'm not mistaken. Machop is going to be cool. It's got kind of not as bad as Solosis for speed, but it's got low speed and it's got really high attack, and it has guts. So if I can give it something like a flame orb to burn it, it'll get a big increase to its attack stat, which is going to be very nice. So I've got those. The other guys in here are other teams that I've tinkered with. Like this team I was able to put together all shiny. They're cool. Darmanitan, Jolteon, Toxapex, Aegislash, Mimikyu, and Dragapult. But this Machop has been taking me forever. I figured if I'm going to be cracking eggs all day, every day, then I might as well at least share a little bit of that and see if anything in here proves to be interesting enough to bring people on. Big thing is I don't remember if I replaced the egg that I hatched. Yep, I already did. We're good. One of the things that I will do sometimes is, after hatching a couple dozen eggs, I'll go, hit a max raid battle, go to the battle tower and run some fights, just something to keep it fresh. It does get pretty dry when you're, you know, sitting here for 3 hours just cracking eggs and not doing anything else. Nope. The nice thing is, if we do manage to get the Machop today, I already have, and it's written on my phone somewhere, so I might need to go find the list, but I know what I'm going for next, so it'll kind of turn into a little puzzle to see what else I can start working towards today. So we're going to jump back out here. We should check the stats. Wrong nature, imperfect stat, nope. Yeah, so if you're not familiar, Trick Room is a status move that they introduced back in like Gen 4, Gen 5. I think it might have been 5. But what it does is it inverts the speed table. So if your Pokemon has a high speed stat, it goes later in the turn, and a slower speed stat goes earlier. Back when it came out, I was running a team that was really just like 6 Pokemon with the highest speed and attack or special attack stats that I could find. And the idea was that I was just going to outspeed and one-shot just about everything. But they all had abysmal defenses. Like, think of like Weavile. Great speed, reasonably good attack, and with the right hold item it can be nasty, but I mean, it's one fighting type move. If any, like any one of them will take it out. So Trick Room was kind of like the perfect counter to the team that I was running, and I've had a mild fascination with it since then. So what I've really been working on is kind of branching out. My new team features a couple slower, tanky Pokemon that would be able to work with a Trick Room set up against us. And this team, I think it's finally time that I cross over to the dark side, as it were, and see if I can build something that actually takes advantage of what used to be kind of my biggest weakness. It'll be fun. I have a couple friends that I'll play online with sometimes. I've played in some of the online competition things. I'm not the best at it, but I like Pokemon, and it's nice to have a way to kind of, I don't want to say waste time, but you know what I mean, like dig into it and get extra use out of it. Regular color, seems good. And see if it's got anything special about it. Yeah, so just to kind of continue chatting about it, if you're not familiar, there are a couple ways when breeding Pokemon that you can influence what the stats are going to be when they come out. I mean, there's easy ones that have been around for a while. Like if you give one of the parents the Everstone, you can guarantee that its nature gets passed down. Back in Gen, I want to say it was Gen 4, it might have been Gen 3, they introduced these items like the Power Weight, the Power Anklet, these items that you could give to a Pokemon that while they hold them, they gain extra effort values in the stat that that one applies to. So like the Power Weight, for example, would increase speed, so every time you beat a Pokemon, in addition to the effort values you get from it, you would get, I don't know, 2 or 3 speed effort values. So it was a way to kind of guarantee a certain level up, or you know, at a certain rate like that. It was helpful when you were trying to effort value train before they added in things like the unlimited items. Like it used to be you could only use, I think it was 10 of the vitamins per stat, which was a little restrictive. It was the kind of thing where like it would give you some, but you still had to know how to EV train, otherwise you were going to end up with something that was a little more well-rounded. But the important thing is, if I was to give a Pokemon something like that Power Weight, Power Anklet, it's whatever item that is, the one that would increase speed effort values when training, what it'll do now is it will increase, or it'll guarantee the speed effort value gets passed down. There are other items out there, like if you've seen the Destiny Knot, what it does is it guarantees that 5 stats get passed down from parents instead of 3 at random. So normally when you breed, it takes 1 random stat from the mom, 1 random stat from the dad, and then 1/3 random stat from either parent, and then the other 3 stats are randomized. Now there's always a chance it's going to pick like attack from mom and then also attack from dad, which would overwrite the pick from mom, so it can be up to 3 stats that are inherited. It's not guaranteed that you get 3 different ones. But the Destiny Knot guarantees that you get 5 different ones, so you can really kind of force certain stats to be passed down, which is really nice. What I have been working on is I have one parent, a Machop, holding the power Anklet, I think it is, which guarantees the speed stat gets passed down. That's why all of these have a no good in speed. I also have a 6 perfect IV Japanese Ditto that I was able to find a trade for online. That is holding the Destiny Nut to make sure that as many perfect stats as possible pass down. Gold bottle caps are pretty rare. Normal ones are less rare, so I would rather spend as few bottle caps as I have to perfect stats if we get a shiny. And the nature changing mints are actually really easy to get, so I figured using an Everstone to force the right nature is nice, but given the different things I'm trying to breed for, it is more important to me to breed for the other two first, because I'll get a mint if I need to. So that's why they're all coming out with so many bests and a no good in speed, but the nature seems to be kind of all over the place. So the way I see it, and if you've done the math on this one, it's kind of cool. You know, I'm going to grab a calculator really quick because it's really neat to see. I have a Japanese Ditto, so I'm breeding using what they call the Masuda method, and I have the Shiny Charm. Those two combined gives me a 1 in 512 chance of hatching a shiny. If you're not familiar with it, that gives me a 0.195 chance. So it's tiny. It's quite unlikely that I'm going to get it. If I'm going to get the perfect nature and the perfect stats, how many natures are there in the game? Let me do a quick search. How many Pokemon natures are there? There are 25 natures, and there are 32 possible IV values I could roll for any one stat that I'm going to get at random, right? So with that in mind, it's a 1 in 800 chance that I get a Pokemon with perfect stats that I then just would turn around and fix. That comes out to a 0.125 chance instead of the 0.195. So I actually have a better chance at getting a shiny Pokemon from this than I do from getting a Pokemon that actually has the perfect stats and the perfect nature side by side. Now, I'm not going to be mad at either. Either of those would be a really nice thing to get, but I mean, honestly, I would rather a shiny, which is why it's kind of cool that it's the more likely of the two. But either way, I mean, getting a 1 in 800 pull or a 1 in 512 pull, I mean, both of those are fantastic. So let's see what we got here. It's always so suspenseful. I kind of get myself convinced that each egg is going to be shiny, and then, of course, they don't come out that way, because why would they? I'm like, there's like this minor sense of defeat every single time. Because I started working on this. Actually, I can tell you when I started working on it, because I hatched Solosis right before. So if we go in here, I think it has the date that you hatch it in the summary thing here. Yeah, so I started working on this on the 22nd of, not last month, the month before now. Wow. So it has been like 5.5 weeks of off and on hatching just to find one Machop. It's a bunch. It's been time consuming, but you know, it's one of those things where it's really frustrating right now, but it'll be worth it once it works out and we actually get the shiny. I'm also really excited because I have lighting kits on the way. I mentioned it in a previous stream, but I don't have a webcam right now, so that's a cell phone that I have hooked up here. There's an app, if you want to check it out, it's called Droid Cam. It will let you use your cell phone as a webcam by using some app shenanigans to access the camera on the phone and let your computer pair up to it. It's really cool. I do recommend it if you don't have a camera but need one and can't afford to spend the money on it. Don't be too hard on your phone. It does get kind of hot while it's running, but it's worth it if you need the device. See, like, there we go. That one's got all perfect stats, wrong nature. And if I'm going to settle for that over a shiny, I better not have to spend the 50 battle points on a mint. That's kind of the resolution I'm going for. I'm comfortable continuing to hatch unless I kind of hit the jackpot on the stats and nature thing. But anyway, back to the whole camera thing. So to help with the lighting stuff, right now I've just got the flash on that camera turned on. So I've got these little kits that are going to be like LED lights, and I'm looking forward to setting them up, because then it won't be this one single blinding spot right in front of my face. But, you know, for now, you know, you make do with what you got. Fingers crossed. Come on. Come on. I believe in you, egg. Nope. I'm going to be honest. I, at one point, actually had to stop and look up Machop shiny rates, and like I psyched myself out because after how common some of these shinies have proven to be for me, I almost thought that maybe it was shiny locked, or that there was something else going on that was, I don't know, preventing me from getting something. You know, it's one of the, like, that might sound a little childish. Like, I know that it's a 1 in 512 chance is pretty low, and each egg doesn't directly impact the chances of the other one, so like hatching any 2 eggs back to back, or even 1,000 eggs back to back, no one egg is more likely than any other to be shiny. But still, you know, after getting some after like 50 eggs, 100 eggs, like running into one that is perfect, or running into one that's shiny, taking me how many, like, you know, by the end of this, by the end of this episode today, it's probably going to be at least 1,600 eggs, unless I get it. It just, it feels kind of impossible. Like, I know it's not, but it just doesn't feel probable. So I was looking into like what the shiny rates are, whether it's shiny locked. Had to remind myself what the shiny looked like a couple times. Basically, it just looks like you got a tan, in case you're wondering. See, that's the perfect nature, but we have a flawed HP stat, which is also no good. So we're gonna put that here and keep cracking. It's funny, back to back we get one, then we get the other. Not wrong that even though it's rarer to come up with both the stats and the nature together, I will be a little disappointed because it's not shiny. I mean, it doesn't matter, but I would so very much like it if I could get a shiny Pokemon instead. Come on. Nope. That's okay. Managed expectations is important if you're gonna not get disappointed by stuff like this. No dice. The one thing that I do quite like about the whole Pokemon shiny hunting process is, while there's been utilities out there that have made it easier, each generation's added a couple of new ways to shiny hunt, whether it's like chain fishing or Pokeradar chaining, which if you're not familiar with, I'll have you look those up. They're methods that I didn't use. A lot of games nowadays, they'll just include like a pay to unlock type thing, and I can't just go and buy a Pokemon that's going to fit this team, you know what I mean? Like, I can either grind for it or not have it. Adds a level of satisfaction that you might otherwise not get. You know, like, pay to win and pay to unlock stuff has its place, and I do really like it in some games because sometimes you just don't want to take a couple hours or days to grind something out, but like, I don't know, Pokemon games, the stories are never that substantial, and sometimes playing online, especially with strangers, isn't a whole lot of fun. This just, it gives it like an aspect that actually works pretty well for the type of game that it is. See what we got for stats. Nope. Imperfect on both, unfortunately, but that's fine. As I said, I secretly want it to be a shiny. I guess not secretly, you know that now. But, no, I would really rather have it be a shiny Pokemon. I think that that would be, I don't know, more exciting than just sending out something that has perfect stats but is otherwise regular. You know, it's the kind of thing where it's unremarkable until it manages to, like, survive a critical hit with 1 HP, and it could have only done that with, like, the perfect stat spread or something, but there's just some novelty to a little sparkle when you send it out. then I'm apparently willing to sink hours into chasing that novelty. Regular again. I've got people shooting off messages on Discord. It's a smallish bit distracting. I've seen some people do stuff like they'll rubber band the control sticks on their controller together and go out into the wild area, because there's a daycare out there as well, because the character will just run in circles because the camera and the way that it pans and the joystick being pulled, it works like that. Like, that's kind of cool. There was even some device that I saw someone on YouTube showcase a little bit ago. It might have been Poketips. If you guys are a fan of the genre, check it out. But yeah, it was this thing that you can plug into the Switch, and it acts like a controller input, and it will run in circles for long enough that an egg has to have hatched, and then it will like automatically go to the daycare and swap the front Pokemon out of the party or something like that. It was really neat. Takes a little bit of the fun out of the shiny hunting, but it's cool to see that there's like cheating devices that aren't just Game Shark codes that guarantee shinies, but instead just kind of take a little bit of the edge off the grindiness of getting a shiny like the legitimate way. I'm so excited for this to be over though, so I can use this Machop. Again, it's going to be a no for me. I was kind of tempted to have the subject of the stream be something more along the lines of, like, oh, I'm just not going to stop until I get a shiny, but, like, I literally probably spent about 12 or 14 hours on this already, and I'm not staying up overnight just to crack a shiny. Like, that's... I would rather do this multiple days in a row for smaller bits than make myself sleep deprived for tomorrow for no reason. See, there's another one where it's got the right ability, which is cool. I mean, I can change that pretty easily. All the right stats... Wrong nature. It's got one of those neutral natures that doesn't change anything, which is fine, but it's not good enough. The big question is, should I set aside some of these ones that are more perfect specimens and just kind of like surprise trade them away later? I could do it through Pokemon Home. They've got the Wonder Box. I could just go start dropping a whole bunch of them in there and firing them off to people. It'd be kind of fun. That's really close too, but once again, flood defense, so that's going to be a no-go, but it's the right nature. So many like that, where like I go to move them and then I look at them and like, wait a minute, when you realize it's off by just a tiny little bit. I've gotten a lot that have a speed boosting, attack decreasing nature, which at a glance, almost like it'll trick you for just a second, because they use red and blue as indicators, but blue means bad, red means good, and normally you kind of think of red as being the color that indicates some sort of problem, so I have consistently seen red on speed, and then like, oh, and then being like, there's the realization that I was wrong is kind of a bummer. The anticipation is killing me. Although I'm trying to think. I know I should grab who's on this team and take a look at the listing. There were a couple, like to get a Solosis, because it is a Shield version exclusive, and I'm a little bit picky. I want my Pokemon in a specific Pokeball. That's a theming thing. That's easy. I just want them in red and white Pokeballs. I don't want them in anything different. Every one that I have out of my living decks and anything else that I have stored in home or in this game, they were all in Ultra Balls. So I actually had to go find my 3DS and fire up Pokemon Y version and catch it, and then use my Pokemon Bank subscription to move it forward from the old platform. I'm really hopeful that I don't run into something like that with this, where I'm going to end up needing to get off stream for a little bit or play something handheld, because the capture card that I have only works for HDMI inputs. And, like, that's fine, but at the same time, it would be finer if I could stream it, you know what I mean? But, you know, getting one of those 3DSs with, like, a pre-installed capture card or something like that, because I think they actually modified the console. Very expensive, given that I don't intend to stream DS games. Or, allow me to rephrase, I own a lot of DS games and I have the requisite hardware to play them, so if anything, I would consider emulating and streaming them off of an emulator. Because I meet what I believe, and I'll look into it before I do anything like that, but I'm pretty sure if that's a legal requirement, of like the ownership of the original title, I have them and I could do that. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But I do not intend to on-console stream DS games, so ponying up the money to buy a modified DS just so I can show me running around in the background for a few minutes to get a Pokemon for something on Sword and Shield is just a total waste of money. Good news is I'm keeping an eye on the stream in the corner over here. I've got like the little preview open. Looks good enough. You know, the capture card is doing awesome. If you guys aren't familiar with and are looking for one, the brand Elgato does an awesome job. This is the Elgato HD60 Pro, so it's built into my PC. It plugs in using one of the PCI Express expansion slots, same place you would put a graphics card. Uses a 1X slot for this one, though, and they have a 4K one that uses a 4X slot. Incredibly low latency, and as you can see, the quality on it's pretty nice, and I actually have the quality preset turned down pretty low. So for what it's worth, if you're at all interested in finding something like that, this is well worth the money. You know, with the caveat that it only works with things that plug in via HDMI, so you're not able to stream handheld games like... you could probably do something off mobile if you wanted to, like, I know Android lets you share your screen over something like a Chromecast. You might be able to get away with casting your screen or capturing it that way if you wanted to, but it will only work with things that are meant to communicate over HDMI, so that's the only restriction. But if you can find a device that meets that extremely common standard, then it should be no issue, and the quality is well worth it. Let me make sure the team's full really quick. Yeah, we're good. We are golden. Nope. It'd be fun if we could get this today, actually. It'd be like a neat little New Year's surprise. First shiny of the new year being a Machop. Yeah, so the weekend that I got 4 shinies, I'm going to kind of chat about that for a minute, because that was awesome. So I was working on a little project. Just trying to get my hands on some Pokemon for a team or two. Like, I put together a little bit of a meme team that's just totally... Like, it's not designed around any particular theme. Each Pokemon's just meant to make people scratch their head in a new and different way. And I was hatching Pokemon for that, and got a shiny Joltik and a shiny Shuckle, which was awesome, but I was getting a little tired of hatching, so I went and connected to the internet. I figured I'd just join in a raid online, because as I said, sometimes if I've hatched a lot of eggs and it's been dry, I'll do some raiding. I did a single raid, and it was a shiny Lapras. And I was able to catch that in a Pokeball. And then, not 5 minutes later, I hatched that shiny Galarian Yamask that I showed earlier, which was, like, that was about as good of a weekend as I could have had, because I only played for maybe 6 hours, and in that 6 hours I got 4 shinies. So, I'm hoping that this year can kind of get off on the right foot by letting me get one here, but I guess, we'll see. Come on. Oh, regular. That's fine. We'll still check the stats. I think I'm going to adhere to the if I roll perfect stats and nature, that I'm going to keep it. It's a no on that one, though. Next box. I gotta say, having the Oval Charm and a Pokemon that increases the hatching speed is awesome. This kind of stuff was excruciating. The big reason that I didn't try and, like, breed for perfect stats or get shiny Pokemon back in, like, Gen 4 is the, like, the quality of life stuff around it was just not there. Like, the Masuda method was there. I think they did the hatching thing, which made it quicker, but, like, there was no Oval Charm in Gen 4. At least not that I remember. It just wasn't perfect, you know? Like, it took a lot. They've really smoothed over the experience for everyone in these games. Yeah, I've seen some people complain that, like, they made it too easy. There are some people who act like getting shinies at anything less than the full 1 in 8,192 odds is somehow less legitimate, but I don't know. I'm just excited that I don't have to grind for as long, and that, like, the basic features like hatching a shiny Pokemon and then dealing with the fact that it's either shiny or was bred for good stats is kind of a thing, because once it's shiny, like, there's no way to fix the stats in the old games. I mean, you can EV breed it, but, or, sorry, EV train it, but, like, the IVs are what they are. The nature was what it was. It was just flawed by nature. Being able to compensate for that stuff really makes the newer generation feel just that much better. Oh, 1 second here. What do we got? I'm gonna have to answer a message where I say no to a person. That's gonna be a no from me. Yep. I've got a group of friends that's playing some Among Us right now, which sounds fun, but I've been itching to try out this capture card for about a week now, so I figured I will pass on Among Us and maybe get a shiny, if the good fortune gods are smiling upon me today. Feels mean to call every one of the things that I hatch a disappointment, but, you know, after enough time it kind of starts to feel like it. Regular again. Should have known. Seriously, what are the odds? I mean, I know exactly what the odds are, it's a stupid question, but, like, I've got another friend who's been looking at building their own gaming PC, and they want to be able to game at high refresh rate, and they want to be able to stream on Twitch as well. And like, it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited for him, but it's tricky because he's got a good budget, and I'm excited to see it unfold, but the market for parts right now kind of sucks a little bit. Like, it's a great time to be like a PC gamer, in the sense that like the new chips from AMD have actually made Intel finally get up and put like the proper number of cores on their chips. And like, because like I have an 8-core 16-thread Intel chip in this computer right now, and last time I built a computer, that would have been over $1,000 just for the CPU, and now it's like $350. Like, it's super attainable, which is incredible. And the AMD chips, especially the new ones that just dropped really recently, are like unbelievable. New graphics cards from both big major companies are really just very exciting. But what sucks is there's like no supply for any of them. You know what I mean? Like, he's ready to go throw like $1,000, $1,200 at a computer, see what he can put together, and yeah, I mean, he can go like last gen parts across the board, or he can just wait for months and hope that stuff comes in stock, and it sucks. It's like, I want to like excitedly tell him how much he's going to be able to get for the money, but like, unless he's willing to pay scalpers this enormous amount of like a premium, he's going to get this sort of average-ish gaming rig, and like $1,000 is enough money to put something really nice together. So I don't know. Just like, as exciting as it is to see all the parts coming out, supply issues are a giant bummer. And a part of that has to do with like global conditions right now. There's just stuff interfering with supply chains, but I don't know, it doesn't make it less annoying. Like, I have been lusting after an RTX 3080 for months now. Since they came out, I've like had money set aside, I'm ready to buy it. All it needs to do is come back in stock, and I need to get to the front of the line quickly enough. And it doesn't look like that's happening anytime soon. So, you know, and like, I get it. It's not any one particular company's fault. Scalpers suck. Supply issues are pretty common right now, but like, it doesn't make it like any less upsetting. Like, I'm like, don't get me wrong, my computer's fine. It's like, I'm using a GTX 1080 right now, but I really want the next gen NVENC encoder, and ray tracing looks cool, and the second generation hardware looks like it's actually fast enough to do it, which is great, because the first gen was iffy at best, and I think you know exactly what I'm talking about if you've ever seen one of them in action. You would take this enormous hit to your frame rate to turn it on. And not that the hit isn't pretty bad now still, but with like DLSS 2.0 rolling out and the more efficient RT cores, it's actually like a compelling upgrade now, finally. And just the amount of muscle you'll get for $700 on the 3080 is like, it looks like a product that actually makes me want to go buy it, instead of feeling like, oh, I guess if it's time for an upgrade. Because that's kind of how the 1080 was. Like, it was fast, but I was upgrading from like a 9 series card, and like, it wasn't like a revolutionary update. I needed more VRAM. I had a 970, and they had that 3.5 gigs of VRAM issue. It was weird. They had like 3.5 gigs of full speed VRAM, and then a 0.5 gigabyte of like dramatically slower memory, and it wound up causing all kinds of issues and more demanding titles, so I decided to dump it. But like, the 1080 wasn't so much faster that it felt like it was worth the $700-ish that it wound up costing. So the 30 series actually looks like properly compelling. Assuming you can get it. Yeah, the really cool thing with this Elgato capture card is I've seen people complain about the input latency, especially on the USB ones. You know, it was really easy to kind of get into it, and you had to have a TV set up near you in order to control it, because the input would be behind by a second or two. With this, like, I don't have a TV in here. This is all playing just through the preview window. And everything's happening in real time. Like, I was playing Smash Bros. To test it out earlier, I mean, just against an AI for now, but like, I was able to play and win against like the level 9 computers in that, which I'm pretty sure if the input latency was any level of significant, I wouldn't have been able to do. You know, it's not that the computers are overly tough, but a level 9 will beat the crap out of you if you're not able to play well. You see, I might actually pop in really quick and after the next egg or two, see if I can hit a raid really quick. That'll be fun. What do we have in here? Anything in there look interesting? I could go for a Snorlax. We'll just do it now. Seems good. Alrighty, we're in. Now, what's going to beat a Snorlax in a fight? And don't say level 1 Machop. Thinking Blaziken will. Because of fighting type. It's going to be really embarrassing if I look at this later and there's like issues with the audio quality because the preview was kind of being weird, so I turned it off. So, funny story about the Blaziken. There was another one of those wasn't looking for a shiny but got one sort of situations. My brother plays Pokemon. He's played since Gen 3 launched. Like, he was like 4, 5, and got a Game Boy Advance and Ruby version. Blaziken was his first Pokemon, you know, Torchic, and it's been his favorite ever since, and I thought, he has Sword or Shield version, and it would be kind of cool if I was able to get him, like, a really good stat, or like a perfect stat Blaziken, so I started cracking eggs just to see if I could dig one up, and, you know, 20 minutes into it, I hatched a shiny Torchic, so I went and I maxed it out, and I suggested giving it to him, and he declined it because he didn't feel right taking a shiny since he doesn't play as much as I do, which is very nice of him. So this is that shiny Blaziken all grown up. So we'll see what happens here, but it should be pretty powerful. I guess we're just going to go for close combat and hope for the best. If the audio for this is a little too loud, let me know. As I said, the preview's kind of broken. I'm just watching the mixer in OBS to make sure that it doesn't seem like it's too noisy. If it's too quiet, if it's too loud, if my mic seems off, feel free to throw something either in the chat or if this is on YouTube, throw it in the comments and I'll keep it in mind for the future. You know, trying to make sure that I do my best here, so any feedback that I get is always appreciated. Seems good. The fact that they start off with all the shields kind of sucks, but, you know, whatever. That's coming from me, isn't it? Nope, no, well, I'll take it. Do a quick check-in here. Oh boy. I'm just gonna pop another close combat. If it'll let me use items, I might just throw something down to cure the sleep later. Though I'm cautious to do so because the other half of that is our defense is going to be down 2 stages after this turn, so a single hit will probably take us out. I don't want to waste a turn healing when I could be shooting for some damage, even if it's just getting lucky and waking up. So, I don't know. I'll figure it out. We might even get knocked out this turn, at which point it won't matter. So, I'd love to hear what other people think about the some of the Galarian forms, especially the legendary birds. I have been playing since Gen 1, so I'm turning 29 in like a month, just to clarify. So, I played Red and Blue version in 1998 when they came out in the US. I mean, I was like 6 years old, but like I've been with the franchise for a long while. Love the legendary birds. I've got nostalgia goggles for Gen 1. I'll be honest about that. But it is really cool to see some of the Gen 1 Pokemon other than Charizard, because we both know that's been a pretty consistent theme, but some of the other Gen 1 Pokemon getting some love. An alternate form's really cool. The idea that they took away the ice, fire, and electric typings from them and gave them something else instead, I think is really awesome. I am a big fan of the creativity that went into them. And the way that they kind of brought back roaming legendaries was really neat. You know, roaming legendaries, especially, like, think back to Gen 2. I've been streaming Pokemon Crystal on Wednesdays, so, you know, like, there's Suicune, Raikou, and Entei. And in Crystal version, the latter two there, they will just roam the world, and they're just random encounters. So until you run into them once, you have no way to track them. It's very frustrating hunting them down in, like, legitimate, like, on-cartridge copies of the games or anything like that. I've actually never really even bothered looking for them. I've never successfully caught them or anything. First time I ever got one was in Soul Silver, and that was dumb luck. I just ran into it and threw an Ultra Ball. I really liked the alternate implementation, where they were, like, visible in the overworld, and you could kind of chase them down. I thought that it was a really, like, a nice way to reinvent a kind of lukewarm mechanic and turn it into something that was really fun. That's something I'm really big on, regardless of the game that I'm in, is if something fails to be a fun mechanic, for any reason. Like, I played Magic on Monday, and as an example, there was a mechanic called Chroma that existed on some cards in one of the earlier sets, and it was not a very popular mechanic. People didn't really like it, but they kind of adjusted how it worked and brought it back as Devotion on a later set, which it kind of did the same thing, but it was a little more unified and very flavorful. Instead of, look at the name Chroma, didn't mean a whole lot of anything, and they took it from kind of like this flop of a mechanic into this resounding success that's returned in sets since then, which is awesome. So I love it when a game can take something that they tried previously that failed and not just throw it out, you know what I mean? Like, they can, oh, hey, check it out, we get the kill. I just love the idea of something like that being able to be fixed and salvaged and turned into something great. So the roaming legendary implementation in Sword and Shield was really cool. You know, it was a little tedious at first, but after figuring out how to do the first one, I've got a couple of these, we'll see if I get a Pokeball. After figuring out how to get the first one, really you just kind of had to get in front of it and let it run into you. It wasn't too hard. You could kind of map out where they would travel and where they would roam, because they kind of were on a set path, more or less. But, whatever. As I said, I've got multiples in home that I can drop down. One of my friends on the Discord server that I'm on, his favorite Pokemon is Snorlax. So it'd be tempting to see if he has Sword and Shield, because I could get him one if he doesn't already have it. That's something I'll do, is if I have friends that play the game with me, I'll try and kind of keep what their favorites are in mind. So, like, there was like the first or second day I was playing this game, I got to the Lake of Outrage, which is out in the wild area in this game, and I ran into a shiny Ninetales, which was like, I didn't have the shiny charm, I didn't have all the badges, it was just dumb luck, I just bumped into it. But Leanne, my fiance, she loves Ninetales. Like, Vulpix is like her favorite Pokemon, and it was one of those things where I couldn't, like, not catch it in a Premier Ball, because those are the Pokeballs that she likes the best. So, like, when I go and start doing raids and stuff like that, if I run into a Pokemon that I want to give to someone, like, I try and keep them in mind for it. I should ask him what his favorite Pokeball is, or if he has it. Actually, I might do that later today. Another thing that I've been trying to do with the Magic streams that we do on Mondays, I have been working on building new decks for them. I only have now 4 decks. I had 3 before this past game. So I just kind of built whatever seemed interesting, but I would wait until something kind of struck me with inspiration before I would sit down and take the time to put it together. And, like, that's fine, but sometimes building a new deck and coming up with the ideas is tough. So if I get a little bit more of a consistent following on here, especially people who are into Magic, I might do like an additional weekend stream, or just kind of have some of my Fridays be like a deck designing thing where like I kind of look for help picking out an interesting commander, and then we kind of work out the details and kind of get the thing put online. You know, online with any feedback from people who are on, anyone who wants to kind of share some input. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Could be a little time consuming depending on what's going on. You know, building a deck isn't something you do in like 20 minutes. Like, it takes some time to kind of go through the collections of cards, see what you do and don't have. Building out the synergy is tough, but you know, it'd be an interesting way to kind of get people from the chat involved in the decision making. Another thought, I do post all of the streams that I have here on my YouTube channel, Dude Esquire VODs. Feel free to go search it up if you're at all interested, but I list who the commanders are in the description there. If you have a commander you want to see me or any of the other guys play, let me know. We can see if we can put something together. Seems like they're trying to do theme nights with some level of regularity, so we'll have nights where it's like, like I think they did one not too long ago, where they were only allowed to have lands and creatures in the deck, so no other support spells, no anything. It just was like zoo deck, just creatures. Just don't think too hard about it. And I love stuff like that. I think it's really cool. So ideas for theme nights, ideas for individual commanders, anything that people have, you know, throw them in the chat, throw them in the comments. I'll take it under advisement. You know, restrictions breed creativity. Looking at a blank canvas, it's really easy to just kind of do the things that you always do. So if you have a favorite color or a favorite commander, or in my case, like a favorite Pokemon or type, you're just going to end up doing that. But by being given a theme or assigned a commander by a group, it's going to kind of force you to think outside the box. It's actually what I'm running into with Crystal version now in the other playthrough that I did on Wednesday. It's still ongoing. I'll be back next Wednesday with more, but I started with Chikorita, which I've never done, even though I've had that game for about 20 years. I always started with Cyndaquil, I started with Totodile once or twice. But yeah, it's making me think about it very differently, because I never really felt that strongly about even having a grass type on the team. I just needed to make sure I had something that could use like Cut. But having to put that on the team is leaving me in a place where like I need to get a fire type. So I need to actually look at the other fire types in the game. And okay, like, it's kind of forcing me to restructure the whole team that I put together. The only one that's still there that I always get is the red Gyarados, because I don't know how you can not use the red Gyarados. It's like the first shiny Pokemon that most players ever saw in the franchise, if they were around back then. Like, it was such a cool inclusion in the game. So, but yeah, other than that, I mean, it's really easy to just take one little restriction, like here's a different starter than you would normally use, or here's a type that you need to keep in mind when building your team, and just watch it kind of have this cascading effect that results in a totally different build than I normally would have gone for. Taking a quick look at something. Yeah, looks like they've got a lot of people on. I may end up cutting the stream a little short today. Like, I'll still probably be on for another 30 minutes to an hour. Just kind of, as I said, a big portion of today's stream is a tech demo. Just making sure that the capture card works, that the audio quality is good. If I get a shiny, that would be awesome. I don't know that I will, just because I haven't yet, and I'm getting frustrated with it, but I might switch over there. They're playing Among Us and just kind of hanging out on a video chat. I think it'd be fun to hop in with those guys, because it's been a little bit, it's kind of a tough week this week for me. So going over and playing with them will be fun. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Nope, regular. That's fine. I've kind of gotten into that groove where I'm just breezing through it. You ever have one of those moments where you're doing something like hatching a bunch of eggs to look for a shiny, and you kind of panic and realize, like, oh my god, what if I already had it and I zoned out and didn't notice? I actually started going into the Pokédex and just checking to see if I have an alternate color for it. If you're not familiar, what happens if you have a shiny in here, and I'll see if I can find one that I do have real quick. Probably be more efficient if I had one in mind that I know that I want. Is this sorted by... It is sorted by name. Alright. Let me see. Sort, number. Like when you come in here, you can see at the toggle up at the top there, I can switch it over, and there's the shiny variant. Looks pretty darn similar in this game, but what I've been looking for is, like, do I have shiny Machop's data in here and I just totally dropped the ball? Answer, no, we don't, which means I didn't just flat out miss it, which is cool. Hang on a second, I want to thumbs up this song. That's a good song. Can't remember if we hatched something. We did. Alright, so I'm going to pick up this egg. I don't know, what do you think? 5 more? Basically flush this party, and then we will go hit another raid, have a little fun online. One of the big things that kind of disappointed me was it turns out if you have Pokemon in battle boxes in the PC, you can't use them for a raid. So the teams that I put together in the shiny Pokemon that I'm hatching now, I'll be able to use them in like the battle tower and against friends, but if I leave them in that battle box, I'm not able to take them into a raid, which is annoying because that's part of what I want them for. Actually, one Pokemon that I found out is really, look, perfect stats, wrong nature. Disappoint. No, one of the Pokemon that I found out is really useful in Gen 8 is Silvally. Which was, if you're not familiar with Gen 7 Pokemon, that its whole shtick is that it's like a knockoff Arceus. So it's a normal type, and it has the ability RKS system. Aha, joke. And the RKS system lets you give it these memories, which I have in my bag here, so I'll pull one up really quick. The way it works is you hand it one of these memories, and then it transforms Arceus into a ghost type and makes its signature move, multi-attack, into a ghost type move, kind of like how Arceus is with Judgment. It's a little less good because the memories don't increase the power of moves of that type like the plates do, so Arceus's attack gets a bigger buff than Silvally's does. But being able to be going into a raid and just hot swap your Pokemon's type and just max out its bulk and just basically let it just be this type advantage behemoth is an extraordinarily powerful ability. If you don't believe me, try it out sometime. The only downside is once you're in the raid lobby, you can't change the type, so you want to pick something that's common, or if you're looking for a particular Pokemon, leave it on that type. And if you're doing raid dens in your game, then you have the option to kind of back out of the lobby, change the type, and then go back in and invite others if you want to. But it is more valuable than I had thought that it would be. Oop. I don't know why, but it bugs me when they hatch out of order, so we're going to do a little bit of that. Yeah, but it is a Pokemon that you like, it's easy to dismiss it, but it's actually pretty darn good. So here's the thing. And I'll show you after this, but I have played a lot of Pokemon Sword. Like, enough that it's probably a problem, but we're just gonna not talk about it. But like, if I go into my save dialogue, my current playtime is 522 hours and 29 minutes. That sounds like a lot. And don't get me wrong, it is, and I'm not trying to downplay that too much, but I've got this friend on my Switch. I'm gonna go pull up his profile in a second because he has played. Where are you? He has played 895 hours of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Is that not an insane amount of time to be in game? Like, it's awesome, and the dude is excellent at the game, but holy crap, that is so much time. Like, for the sake of my own curiosity, I play a lot of Smash 2. I have played 320 hours of Smash Bros. I think most people would agree that's a lot of Smash Bros. Oh my god. And the really cool thing is, like, he started playing it before the whole COVID situation happened. And that's fine. And the thing is, he played a lot of online, just a lot of like the For Glory lobby. And going into the pandemic, that has been a huge boon for him because there's input latency. When you're playing just on like a TV in your living room, it runs fine. And there's very, like, obviously every game has a little bit of input latency, but it's very, very minor. It's like a frame or two. When you're playing online, it increases it a fair bit. So you need to kind of adjust your timing for everything. And depending on how long you've been playing, like I played probably another 400 or 500 hours of Smash on the 3DS. And I got really good with a couple characters there who actually did translate pretty nicely to Ultimate. Like Lucas did a good job of moving over. I can't rely on muscle memory to play Lucas online. And that's actually a massive hindrance for me, but for him, that's like his home field. It's awesome watching him play some of the characters that he does. If he's feeling okay with it sometime, I might try and have him join in Discord, like I've done with some of the other stuff like Magic, and I'll see if maybe I can stream some of our games and you'll be able to kind of hear the chats that we're going through. I think it'd be really cool. If he's down for it, that'd be awesome. If he's not, obviously, I'm not gonna like try and force him into it, but like, he is truly incredible at the game, and I would love to kind of show off what he's able to do. I think it'd be, I don't know, a lot of fun. That's the thing, and you can tell someone's a good sport and fun to play with when getting your ass kicked by them is fun. You know what I mean? Like, there's some people where you play against them, and even if you win, just something about the way they carry themselves grates you the wrong way. Like, they're just not fun to sit down at a table with. Like, yeah, and sometimes they're even like your friend, and they're fun most of the time, but then in this one game, they suck. And, like, I've got a couple friends like that, and, you don't know who you are, and you don't need to worry about it. I'm not having that confrontation with you. But, Nico is one of those guys where you can sit down with him and just get your ass handed to you. And it's one of those things where, like, you'd be like, that was fun, let's play another one. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't win a single game all night. Like, you know that he's, like, not taking it easy on you, but he's such a good sport and such a fun person to play with. So if I could get him and maybe a couple other friends online, we could get, like, 4-man smashes going. I think that'd be a really good time. And let me say, I have an Ethernet adapter. You can see I've got the little squiggle shape up by the clock there. I have an Ethernet adapter hooked up to this thing, which I was not using before. That makes an enormous difference for things like input latency, and even like I was getting disconnected from games from time to time, which was really frustrating. That has not been an issue since I started using that Ethernet adapter, so it is well worth it. Ooh, let me take a quick look at something. One moment. I might have Leanne joining me in the office. She wanted me to let her know when I'm done streaming for the night, and I want to make sure things are good. Actually, give me just a minute. I will be right back. And we are back. Yeah, so she plays Call of Duty. Specifically, she's been in Warzone lately with a friend of ours, and she like wanted to come in and play, but doesn't. Oopsie, that's fine. We'll reconnect. She wanted to come in and play, but she didn't want to be too disruptive. This mic's kind of sensitive, so depending on how loud she is, it kind of filters through into the stream, whether whether she wants it to or not. Ooh, Crobat. We're gonna fight a Crobat. It's gonna be fun, unless it doesn't let me in. I've had a lot of, the communication partner couldn't be found and like errors like that in here, but I'm glad to see that this one's gonna work for me. Who do we want to use for this one? It's a Crobat. This should be fun. So what I wound up doing for the one team that you saw me kind of talking about, the shiny one that I had in there, it's I built that whole team out. All the Pokemon were bred with perfect stats. Like, it was a lot of fun. I was using it for battles, and then I wound up doing a this whole thing where I kind of got tired of not having shinies, and I sat down and ripped into the whole, you know, like I wanted to breed them out and go through the whole thing, and I spent like probably a cool 2 or 3 months getting things together. So this one, stat-wise, is identical to what I would consider to be my perfect, like, battle team Darmanitan, but it's not part of the battle team itself because it's not shiny. So I have this one available to bring into stuff like this. That's actually really cool. I love some of the Gigantamax forms, and that's one of them. So, in case you were wondering, that Darmanitan, the build's pretty common. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's the one that Smogon recommends for it now, but it has Guerrilla Tactics, which is the default ability for Galarian Darmanitan. It basically acts like a choice scarf. Whatever the first move is that you use while it's on the battlefield, that's the only move it can use for the rest of the time that it's there, but that move gets a 50% increase in power. And I coupled that with a choice scarf. It has the same basic effect, except instead of increasing attack by 50%, it increases speed by 50. So this Darmanitan, even though their stats are fine, it's not the fastest Pokemon out there, the thing basically goes first all the time, and it hits like a bus. That's pretty outstanding. When I first looked at it, I kind of thought that maybe the Zen Mode one would be better, because Zen Mode gives it a really nice increase to its offensive stats and its speed, but after fooling around with both variations, this thing just absolutely blew my mind. Like, just the sheer damage output that it's capable of is awesome. And then maybe we'll catch a Crobat. I should probably have eaten dinner, now that I think about it. It's like 10:40 where I am, and I sort of might have forgotten to, so I'll get on that later. It's actually reason number 2 why I might close things down just a little early today. Is that a shiny Inteleon? Kinda looked like it. Oh yeah, it's totally shiny. Alright, so we caught it, that's nice. Getting the Dynite ore is going to be helpful. I'm trying to get enough to pick up an ability patch, which, if you're not familiar, what it'll let you do is, it's one of the really cool quality of life updates that they introduced in the Crown Tundra. So what it lets you do is change a Pokemon so that it has its hidden ability, even though if it didn't have it when you first caught it. Now, the reason that's really nice is in Pokemon Go, of all places, I caught a shiny Dratini. Actually, I caught a bunch of shiny Dratinis, one of which I've given away since then, to that guy Nico from Smash Bros. Earlier that I was talking about. The Dragonite hidden ability is called Multiscale, which, if you're not familiar with it, is absolutely crazy. Multiscale allows you to take, I think it's half damage from all attacks as long as your HP is full, meaning that Darmanitan Dragonite should be able to just absorb that hit, even from something like a powerful ice move, and not get knocked out. So, you know, have him have the ability multi-scale, give him something like a weakness policy and teach him agility. Just have him agility first turn, he'll get hit with like an ice punch, tank it like a champ, weakness policy will pop, and then he should be able to sweep through most of an enemy team without too much trouble. I need 200 Dynite ore to pick up that patch though, which isn't impossible to get, but it's nice to see it as like a raid reward when I just kind of take a break from egg cracking. Because really what I do is I'll play this for a while, I'll hatch a bunch of eggs, I might do a raid or two, I might take a break and go to the battle tower and run a couple fights with one of my existing teams. The other thing I'll do is in the Crown Tundra, they added this thing called the Max Lair, where you can do Dynamax Adventures, which is like a 4 back-to-back Dynamax raid fights. But prizes for that include Dynite ore, which is really cool. It's also an increased shiny rate, if you're not familiar with it. I think it's 1 in 300 for each Pokemon that you encounter to be shiny. And if you have the shiny Charm, it's 1 in 100. But you don't find out until after the fight, so you have to like catch it and then look at the summary at the end of the run. Yeah, so pro tip, if you're not familiar with that, look it up. But it's, I got a shiny Gigantamax Duraludon, the Steel Dragon from Gen 8. In there, didn't realize it was shiny, and then I was like in the collecting things at the end screen, and I was like, hang on, the blue shade on that doesn't look quite right, and you know, sure as heck, there it is, it's a shiny. So but yeah, I don't know, I'll take breaks and kind of jump down there from time to time, but like one run will give like, I think if you successfully beat and catch the Pokemon at the end, it'll give you 11 Dynite ore, so it's not like it's this impossibly huge amount of work to do. But getting it over with will be nice, because I may end up needing more than one ability patch, depending on what happens. So, there's a you can go into endless mode, which will basically, instead of having it end after you catch a Pokemon, or the last Pokemon, the fourth one, you can't keep any of the Pokemon you catch, but you can do it forever. Just until all your guys get knocked out, you can just run Dynamax Adventures for a theoretically infinite amount of time. And you get a huge amount of Dynite ore based on the amount of time you're in there. So that's what I've been tinkering with now, but I also want to catch the stuff, so I don't know. Depending on how things shake out, if I end up having people who play Sword kind of getting into the chat as I do this some more, you can open up Gigantamax Adventures or Dynamax Adventures, whatever it's called, online, so I could set like a room code, and I could try and like throw that code out and have people come join in the chat, and kind of hop in the stream with it. That would be a lot of fun. I don't know, I think it'd be a good time. If I can get people interested in it, we'll go for it. If not, or if that's just not something that's going to happen, like I'm going to need to have enough people in the chat that actually want to do it. So we'll see where that goes, but that's an option that's on the table. So if anyone sees this and ends up feeling like that'd be fun, throw something in the chat, or as I said, YouTube channel, put it in the comments, and we'll set something up. It's so close. So I'm realizing that when I put up my away screen, I think my desktop audio fed through, so you guys are probably hearing whatever music I have on YouTube. So I wonder if that's going to get muted out, or if I'm going to end up having some sort of copyright strike. So here's hoping that doesn't turn into a thing. Like, I'm sure it will at least get muted, but I don't want that to become a problem. So wish me luck on that. It's definitely not my thing to advertise, but there's something that was rolled out on... It's like on YouTube Music, it exists on Spotify and Apple Music. It's called Stream Beats. That's by Harris Heller. He has a YouTube channel that he runs all about like streaming setups, all kinds of stuff like that. I haven't seen a whole lot of the content. He might cover a lot more than what I'm giving him credit for, but he put that together, and it's all like royalty and copyright free music, so you won't have your videos demonetized, your VODs muted. The stuff's amazing. For games like when we get into Magic, and when I'm playing games where I want to have something playing in the background, I think the name of the game is going to be playing that music in the background. I'm not going to have any links to it per se, but if you look Harris Heller up on any music platform that you use, it should be in there. I think it might be Alpha Gaming on YouTube. Definitely worth checking out if you have any interest in setting up a stream like that of your own, or if you're just intrigued at how the process works. It's really cool. that was the wrong button. What do you guys think? Like 11:15, good time to get off? It's like a half hour from now. Should be enough time to do a little... God, see, I gotta pay attention more. Yeah, I'm thinking sometime between 11:15 and 11:30 is when I'm gonna hop off. Oh? Is this the one? I think it might be. Come on, come on, come on. We're here for a shiny after all. Regular. Lame. That's fine. Yeah, to be clear, I keep talking about it like I'm just like this totally willing to just sit around and waste time on it thing, but I will show you what that has earned me for all of this. Here's my league card. As you can see, I've got the Pokédex stamps completed. I've actually put a lot of time into that stuff, but I have found 34 shiny Pokemon. That's a lot. It's taken a lot of time, but that's a lot of Pokemon to have found, so I'm really comfortable sitting down and kind of grinding at it for a little bit because it's worked out for me. If you want to enter this code and add my league card to your game for whatever reason, I don't know if that's something people do or not, but they've got a button for it, so there is the code. I'll leave it up here for a second. It's 00000003 M51X F9. Good, it's code, I guess. But yeah, if you're at all interested, go ahead and throw it in there. It's neat. And then I think, and I can check this out, but I think if I update the card, I don't know if it'll update on the on your guys' side of things, but we'll find out. Well, I actually probably won't find out, but you know, I can experiment with it, have a friend at it, and then I'll go and like get a new shiny or change my team around and update it and see if it changes the picture. Let's see what we've got here really quick. I'm gonna send another text really quick. Yeah, so a friend of mine just got a new phone recently, like 2 days ago recently. He was using like an old like Galaxy S9 and like the charge port sunk into the phone and it was generally not a great time. He finally was able to get an upgrade and he's got like the new Galaxy S20 something and it looks really exciting, but apparently he was using the Google Now launcher from a while ago, which I thoroughly enjoyed and recommended, but then you can get like the Pixel launcher now, which is kind of like Google's new offering, and there's other companies or other developers that have gone out and kind of modified it slightly and added extra customization and plugins, so he was kind of looking for like what launcher to use, and if you're looking for a recommendation, I'm pretty sure the one that I'm using on my phone is called Lawn Chair, which is 100% a play on words, but it is a launcher that imitates the Pixel launcher layout and styling, but is nice and customizable. So like, here's my home screen. It's got the analog clock, which is a shortcut. You can see it's like a widget, so it moves as we interact with it, but it's one of those swipe up for your app drawer sort of situations, swipe down for your notification shade. But when you go into the home settings, there are a lot of options. I'm not going to waste your time trying to understand what all those are because it's going to be hard to read, but you can change all kinds of theming and color things and add plugins and Google integration if you want that, and it's just a very capable and customizable launcher, which I thoroughly appreciate. So if you're on Android and looking for a way to spice up your home screen, check it out. Obviously, there's a lot out there. There's some very feature-rich launchers. This one is a little bit more bare bones than some of the really kind of crazy ones, but if I'm being honest, I don't want my home screen to be crazy. I want it to make shit easy to find, and this launcher does a really good job of just kind of being lightweight and just running really smoothly and having the everything you're looking for be close. That's gonna be a no from me. Seems good. Sorry, I'm clicking some things. Nope. I will eventually get it, and I know that because I'm not going to stop. Like, I'll stop tonight, but I am going to continue to hatch eggs until I get one of these things, so it's not like there's some chance that I'm just going to, like, not get what I'm looking for. Stubborn like that. Alrighty, we got another one. Got like a loose hair hanging around near my eye. Give me just a sec. Got it. Kind of forgot to pick up an egg after the last one. Oh, never mind. I guess she just didn't have one for us. So what I need to figure out is at what point in this process are the stats and shininess of the egg confirmed? Or like when does the game determine it? So she just crossed her arms there, meaning she's got an egg available. Are the characteristics of the egg already determined, or are they determined when I take the egg from her? I know once it's in my party, the game's basically made up its mind. That's why you can't just like reset and rehatch the egg over and over again. Stats and all that stuff are determined much earlier. But I have accidentally talked to her and given away probably about 12 eggs throughout this whole process, and I'm very curious if any of those were shiny or if that would not have been determined at that time. So we'll figure it out. Nah. That's no good. Nah. I can't wait for this to happen, though. I'm so very ready for my shiny Machop. Yeah, he quite seriously just gets a little bit tan, and the color of his eye changes a little bit. Thinking 2 more eggs, and then we're going to look for another raid just to kind of keep it fresh, you know? It'd be nice if she could give us some eggs too. I'm getting a little tired of having empty slots in the party. It makes all these steps I'm taking feel just a little wasted, you know? All right. Still no. How many more do we need to get? Well, I got 3, so I need 2 more eggs. But I'm sure we're not getting those both before we hatch something else. I mean, if we do, I'm not going to be mad about it, but... You know what? Let's take a look for a raid right now that we got the full party. Let's see if this one's around. You know, this has been so successful that I'm wondering if me being disconnected from raids before had to do with Wi-Fi more than anything else. Who do we want? We're fighting a dragon? Let's bring a dragon. We'll hang here in the lobby for a minute. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun with Sword and Shield. So here's the thing with those, and I'm sure you've seen there was the whole controversy about like the national dex being cut. I don't like the loss of the national Pokédex for a couple reasons. I mean, some of my favorite Pokemon didn't make it forward, but like I also basically had to redo my entire favorite team from the ground up because I had like an Infernape on there and Gen 4 starters didn't come forward. But worse than that was like the argument for why they did it. Like, I'm not opposed to trimming because there's like 1,100 character models that they would need to have loaded in. That's a lot. It is a lot of work to go into that, and I get that. On the flip side, plan development time accordingly, and that's about it. Or if you can't, and you're gonna cut Pokemon, the rationale that they gave for it was, oh, well, we're programming much higher quality models in, we're making the animations a lot better, and like, yeah, I understand that logic, and I wouldn't even be outright opposed to it if it seemed like it was true. But what you're going to notice here is there's a lot of moves being used. A lot of the Pokemon are going to be shooting like beams of energy and stuff, but it's not, there's no animation to it. My dragon dude's going to wiggle his tail, and then the big tall yellow dragon in the background is just going to kind of like get hit with some dragon colored attack. Like, it feels like a total cop-out, because like some of the moves, don't get me wrong, like the max moves look great. Some of the signature moves, like if you've ever seen Cinderace's signature move, the Pyro Ball or whatever it is, it's like they look nice. It's well done, but it's not well done in the sense that every Pokemon's animations are done really well. It's that a very small subset of things were done well. Like, look at that. That's not like an incredible animation. That's like, it's fine, like it gets the point across, but it feels like decidedly like GameCube era graphic styling, you know what I mean? Like what is that? How hard is it to either accept that the animations don't look that great and realize that it's not a cop-out, and either, I don't know, admit that you just didn't either have the time, the budget, or the interest to do it right, or delay the release of the game and put more of them in. You know what I mean? Because like, and the other thing that I thought was kind of weird about it is they included 400 Pokemon in the regional decks here, and they've added more since then, you guys know that. But why feel the need to make it so that if the Pokemon can be obtained in the Pokédex, that it has to appear in the region? Like, that was never a rule before, and they're acting like that's like the whole giant restriction is, oh, packing 900 Pokemon or so into one region is too much. And it's like, yeah, that's why you don't do that. What you do instead is you pack like your 300 or 400 in, and then you make the other ones able to be brought forward, and they just aren't obtainable in the region. And it's just the way that it is. Never really made sense to me, the way that that all worked out, because, like, I'm not saying that I should be able to complete the entire national Pokédex by playing a single title. I don't think anyone's ever really wanted that specifically. I mean, it would be cool, but, like, only if the world that the game took place in was big enough. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to play through Kanto and have to, like, just filter your way through 900 species of Pokemon in that tiny region. Like, it's not big enough to sustain it. And to be honest, Galar's not really big enough to sustain the 400 that's in here. Like, these games feel both empty, because there's Pokemon that just aren't here, and, like, overstuffed, because every route is jam-packed with more species of Pokemon than I would normally expect to find there. You know what I mean? It feels very weird. I think we already have a full party, so that's fine. That'll it'll go to the PC. But yeah, it's like, I get it, and I think that it would be really cool, but just the implementation just feels fundamentally flawed, you know? And like, yeah, I mentioned earlier, I've been playing this franchise, like Pokemon games, since 1998, so this is now my 23rd year with the series. And I'm admittedly biased. I mentioned I look at Generation 1 with a little bit of, like, the nostalgia goggles. Like, it's easy to kind of look at it and just not really take it for what it is, but instead kind of take it for what you remember it being. But at the same time, like, they introduced Pokemon in Generation 7 that they then did not bring back in Generation 8. Is that not just a huge waste of time to develop and, like, finalize Pokemon and build out their character models, write Pokédex information, and then just not use it and throw it out for the following generation? Like, for example, and it's not that I think this Pokemon's overly exciting, but look up Oricorio. It was the form-changing bird from Gen 7, where each island had a type of nectar. And you could give that nectar to the Pokemon, and it will change between 4 different forms, and those forms that have different types, and like, it was a neat thing to do. You know what I mean? I enjoyed it. It wasn't like a Pokemon that I thought was, like, incredibly well designed, but, like, it worked. It was neat. I liked it well enough, and they went and designed all of these forms for this Pokemon and this whole mechanic, and then you can't get it in Sword and Shield. It's stuck in Pokemon Home or the previous generation game. Why do that? Why scrap previous work for, I don't know, no particular reason? Like, it wouldn't have even bugged me if the older Pokemon were included and they were just left as 2D sprites. Like, I don't really care that much. I'm not, like, knocking the graphical fidelity of the game. It looks great. The Pokemon models are detailed, they're nice, the colors are good. Like, it looks nice. The world is well enough done. But, like, arguing that the graphics are so good that it offsets the removal of 400 Pokemon just doesn't track, you know? Like, they're not that good. Like, if you look at a game like Breath of the Wild on the Switch, Breath of the Wild looks fantastic. Pokemon does not look anywhere near as good as Breath of the Wild. So, like, acting like animations and graphical fidelity kind of makes up the difference on that. It just doesn't track, so... But for what it's worth, there are enough Pokemon in the game that you can definitely make some interesting teams and come up with cool ideas. They added some nice new moves. So, like, the creativity of the franchise is here. It's still fun to play. It feels lacking. So I'm hoping that this year we're going to get an announcement, or either this year or next year at this point, something for, like, a Generation 4 remake or, like, a Sinnoh region revisit. And I would like to think that at the time those games go live, that we get some sort of final update for Sword and Shield that pushes the last Pokemon in. So maybe they'll use, like, these other games as the chance to introduce the last 200 or 300 Pokemon that aren't here. I think that'd be really cool. That was something that actually bugged me. If you think back to X and Y version, back on the 3DS, the other games from Gen 6 were Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and they were good, and they added new Mega Evolutions, which is kind of the whole Gen 6 mechanic, and that was a lot of fun. But one of the issues was they added Mega Evolutions that were then not ported back to X and Y, so if you played X and Y and wanted to battle a friend with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, they might be told that they can't bring their Pokemon. Like, I went to battle a friend who had Sapphire and was going to bring his Mega Swampert, and the game wouldn't let him because X and Y just didn't have that Mega Stone or that evolution data programmed in. Now, clearly with Sword and Shield, they've demonstrated that they can do an over-the-air update that adds a model of Pokemon in and brings everything up, so I would like to think that they're not going to do something weird where like a Gen 4 remake sometime later this year or next, if they end up going that route, would turn around and like add a bunch of Pokemon, and then you would just get this thing where if you go to play with someone in Sword, it just says, uh-oh, that game is not compatible with this one. Like, that would be absolute nonsense. Although on the flip side, if the whole thing is that they're really just trying to press sales and make more money just by basically cutting out elements and selling them back to people, making it so that if you want to keep playing with your friends, you have to buy the other new game, might make sense for them. I mean, it's going to be very like anti-consumer to take away cross-compatibility that have been there before, but I'm not holding my breath because Gen 8 here, for all the fun that it is, has demonstrated some pretty bad decision-making from Game Freak, and I'm not certain that it's going to turn around and get better next time. You know, I want it to, don't get me wrong, but I'm nervous for it, because Pokemon's been a franchise that I've liked, but I feel like Gen 4 or 5 is really kind of where the series peaked. I really like Gen 6, but hey, oh my god, that finally... I have been working on this for 5 or 6 weeks, and we finally got one. That is what I've been looking for, thank God. We gotta check out those stats, though. Let's see what we got. We're gonna file that under close enough, and I'll fix that with mints and stuff later. It's not the right nature, and we need special defense to be back in line, but holy crap. So there we go. He has a 10, I told you. So we've got shiny this dude, shiny this dude, and shiny this guy, so I need to figure out who is next on my list for this team. Let me see. Wow, thank God. I was really getting tired of waiting. This one? Bear with me here. I'm opening an Excel file on my computer that you cannot see because of reasons. OneDrive, personal, documents, Pokédex? This one, I think? There it is. Alright, so, you know what? Let's have some fun with it. I'm going to go ahead and put a screen share up so you guys can kind of see what I'm working with here. So, I put together this sheet here, and it's got a lot of stuff. So, like, this tab right down here, this is like the entire Pokédex. And like every base stat for every Pokemon and their totals, typing, it'll give me the opportunity to kind of sort and filter for what I'm looking for. I've got type matchups programmed in as a table, natures and their advantages. But the idea here is if I go and I can do like stat computations and kind of get like a build of a team put together and have some of the math automated for me so I can make sure that it'll work. So we are working on the Trick Room team. So I have a Machop now, or Machop. I have you, and I have you. So I need to get a Whimsicott, a Caparajah, and a Toxtricity. Who do we want to go for? I'll be comfortable going for a Caparajah, I think. So let me go ahead and switch back to the game here. I'm going to put this Excel spreadsheet over there. I'm going to get my game window back over here. That is fantastic. I am so happy that I finally have this. Holy heck. That is what I'm talking about. So now I'm going to shut off the whole eggs thing. I'm going to take the one back from here. I'll leave the Ditto in. It's the one giving perfect stats, and all it's holding is a Destiny Knot, but I'm going to take the Machop back. Oh boy. That is great news. That's a good first, like it's New Year's. I mean, it's late on the first, but you know, that's a nice kind of break in the new year with the first shiny. Yeah, it'll be good. That like totally overhauled my mood. I was getting really kind of tired out, and it's been just a long week, and oh man, look at that. So the name of the game now is I'm just going to hatch all the other stuff on my team, and I'm going to go see if I have a Caparaggio somewhere that I can use. The big thing is I want it to have a 0 in its speed stat. And like, that's fine. That's super doable, but I'm probably going to need to crossbreed it with another Pokemon that's going to have the stat that I'm looking for. So I might need to do a little bit of looking into what the egg groups are so I can kind of line up the stats first. This part here always kind of stresses me out because I've got the shiny, and I don't know why, but it's going to rub me the wrong way if I hatch a second shiny Machop out of like the 4 eggs that I got to get through. It's like a dumb attitude to have. Extra shinies is always cool, but like, I don't need to, and it kind of feels like I'm wasting luck where I don't need it if I get one, so... What do we got? Yeah, so I was talking earlier, actually, I'll show you this really quick. It's holding an item called the Power Anklet. I'm gonna take that item, and I'll go show you kind of what the bag has to say about it, so it's gonna be down at the bottom of this pouch. Power Anklet is an item to be held by a Pokemon. It reduces the speed, which is like, that's a temporary thing. It basically just lowers your speed stat, kind of like the Iron Ball would, but it allows the holder's speed stat to grow more after battling, basically meaning you get extra speed effort values, which is really cool. When it's held by a Pokemon through the breeding process, it instead guarantees that the speed base stat, the speed IV, gets passed down to the child. That's why every single one of these Pokemon had a 0 speed. The reason I did that is they added bottle caps into the game, so you can take a Pokemon that has an imperfect IV and use a bottle cap to basically have it perfected. There is no way to imperfect a stat, basically taking it and knocking it down to 0. It either has a 0 or you can't get it that way. There's like, you can't pick the number you set it to. It perfects it, makes it a 31, which is the highest value it can have. So I needed to make sure that as I breed, I pick the right stats and work towards it. God, I am so happy about that. Actually, I was talking about shutting things down around 11:15, depending on what's going on. I'm thinking the name of the game is hatch the rest of these eggs and like prepare a Caparaggio for breeding, and then I'll start working on that maybe over this weekend. My next week's stream will be kind of continuing that, but that was really exciting. Oh man. Let me see. I'm going to check out the stats, because I'm still interested in a perfect Machop, and if I have anything that's like viable here, I might gift it to somebody. Not really, not really, not really, not... Well, good stats, just not the nature that I'd like to see. But we're gonna head over here. All right, so this Machop is, yeah, see, that's another one. I have perfect stats, imperfect nature, but making it one of the parents is a way to ensure that I pass down the right stats, which is really good. But yeah, let's look at it one more time, because I am really excited here. Got him. You know what? We're going to go in here. I want to get a little bit more of a look at him. No guard. See, I am going to need to use an ability capsule on that because he needs to have guts, but I've got 2 or 3 of those in my bag, so that is totally usable. And we bred for the egg move Bullet Punch, which he very much had to have. I need him to be able to outspeed when he needs to. So that is great news, and I did set aside a Caparaggio over here. Are you in the right kind of Pokeball, my friend? You are. I'm going to do a little bit of Googling really quick. I want to pull up... We'll kind of switch back to this whole thing. Generic full screen. I want to go to Cerebi. Got my spreadsheet open over here. So I need it to have Heavy Slam, Power Whip, Heat Crash, and Superpower. Are any of those moves egg moves? You know what? We're just going to do this because I don't feel like doing that. So we're looking for, once again, Heavy Slam, which I'm seeing right here, so that's good. I need Power Whip. We're just going to do this. Power Whip is a TR move he can learn. Excellent. I need him to know Heat Crash. Heat Crash is a TR move as well. Very nice. And I need him to know Superpower. All right, so every move that he needs to know is... Yeah, every move that he needs to know is something he just levels up and learns, which is awesome. Because that means that I can just go throw this guy into the daycare with the appropriate items. Now, the other thing, you know what, I'm going to need to switch back to this for a second. Egg groups field and mineral. Who's in mineral? Yeah, mask is in mineral. Let me take a quick look. I want to make sure that applies to both forms. That's also very good news, because what I need to do is I need to get a 0 speed IV onto my Caparaja, which means I need to breed it with a Pokemon that has a 0 while it's holding that power anklet that we talked about earlier. Specifically, that thing needs to be a male Pokemon, which I've got right here. Caparaja is a female. That's excellent. That makes things nice and easy. And let's go grab that item that we were looking at earlier, the power anklet. All I got to do is crack 1 egg. That one will have the 0 speed, and then I can go in and swap it out. So I'm actually going to go ahead and throw Caparaja in here. Then I'm going to take back Chet, my Ditto. I couldn't nickname him, but that's fine. I'd like to leave Mask, and then I'm going to check in with her just to make sure that they will talk to each other. Just a chance to double check and make sure that things go smoothly there. So let me see, is everything okay? Don't seem fun to one another. That works well enough for me. So really quick, just to explain the joke. Chet here is a Chinese traditional Ditto. So in the upper right hand corner, it's got CHT. Just cracked me up seeing that as a possible name. So I'm going to roll with that. But I'm going to get 1 egg, and basically I'm setting up Caparaja for breeding next time. And then once I have that all set, I am going to go ahead and shut it down for tonight, and I'm going to go check in with people on my Discord channel. So yeah, thanks for being around. It has been a lot of fun. Getting that shiny was just an awesome way to kind of bring things to a close today. As I said, I've been working on that for weeks. Not a whole lot of luck on it. Feel like that was a really fun episode number 1 for the building my shiny team. That was an absolute blast. So we're gonna go in here. You know what, I'm just going to go ahead and withdraw the Pokemon. I'm going to finish everything. I'm going to actually get the Pokemon in the daycare before we wrap things up here. So I'm going to take these 2. Yep, I'll take that. And then I got to go hatch the new little Cufant that I've got here. It's the egg we just picked up. This is probably the most boring part, is taking 1 0-step egg and just hatching it right out of the gate. It's time consuming, you gotta run back and forth a whole lot, and it's not like just hatching the last egg where it's been with us for a bit, so this will just take a few. And you know, how hysterical would it be if it also cracked shiny? I mean, it really shouldn't. That was not a Masuda method breed. That's full odds, which in this generation, actually with the shiny trim, is like 1 in 1300 or something like that. 1 in 1360. So I don't think that it'll happen, but there's always a chance. For example, I bumped into a shiny Absol on the Crown Tundra when I was climbing up to the top. I think that's currently in my Pokemon home, but it's got super luck, and it's red, and it's cool. Let's go. I think that's normal color, but that's good. That's what we want. I should actually look up what its shiny looks like really quick. Cufant. Normally it's... Oh, it just kind of turns yellowish and gets a little bit more green. Here, really quick, I will show you guys what I'm talking about. Yeah, so the color palette doesn't get dramatically different, but that's fine. And then Copper Raja ends up just being a little bit more of a rich green. What does Gmax look like? Those are almost indistinguishable, but that's fine. I'm not in it just for the color palette. I'm in it for just the kind of the fancy bling factor that you get out of having shiny Pokemon. So what I can do here is move the item to here, and then these two are going in the daycare. Let me go ahead and make sure that that actually is a 0 IV in speed. No good, that's what I want to see. And it's guaranteed to pass down because of the item. The other Ditto is going to start feeding a lot of perfect stats into it. So I'm going to leave this Pokemon here. Yep, I'm going to leave them both. And for the sake of being thorough, I'm going to go ahead and pop these guys back in the PC, and we'll be starting next time with an empty party. Though for me, if I'm being honest, next time might be tomorrow afternoon when I get bored. Haven't decided yet, but for now, I am going to go ahead and save and shut it down. And that's going to be the end of it. Thank you very much for joining me, and have an